All right, so we're diving deep today into something I think a lot of our listeners are super curious about. Anime. Specifically, how the animation and the dubbing have been changing over the years.
Okay, sounds interesting.
We've got 3 video essays we're going to be looking at to kind of unpack this whole thing. They bring up some really good points.
Yeah.
So the first one jumps right into how the animation itself has actually changed, over time.
Okay.
And they compare, like, classic series, Sailor Moon, Digimon, Pokemon.
Right.
To, like, the modern reboots of these series.
I see.
And it kind of makes you think, is newer always better?
That's a good question.
Because they point out that some of the reboots have way better animation. But some actually seem to have, like, taken a step back.
Interesting.
Like, the animation isn't as good.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, what the studio is trying to do, right? Like, who are they trying to reach with this reboot? What are their expectations?
Exactly. And they actually used Sailor Moon Crystal as a perfect example of a reboot where the animation's just, like, phenomenal.
Yeah, much better.
It's so smooth. The characters are more expressive.
Yeah.
The whole aesthetic is just like, wow.
Well, I think that makes sense, though, right? If they're rebooting it for, like, the original fans who grew up with it,
right,
they're going to want to see those upgrades.
Totally.
That makes it worth watching again for them.
But then there's Pokemon, which has been running for, like, forever.
Oh, yeah.
Decade. And the essayist is arguing that the animation, especially for the human characters, has actually gotten worse.
Really?
In more recent seasons.
I'd be curious to see what they're basing that on.
Well, they show a bunch of scenes where the characters just look stiff.
Okay.
Like their movements aren't as fluid.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, the older seasons.
Right.
And they think it might be because of budget cuts.
Budget cuts. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Or just the crazy number of episodes they're putting out.
I mean, they do make a ton of episodes.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe they have to cut corners somewhere.
Exactly. And they even bring up this technique called tiling.
Tiling?
Yeah, where they basically reuse the same animation.
Oh, so they don't have to animate it again.
Right, like multiple times.
Gotcha.
And that obviously saves money.
Yeah.
But it can make it look kind of less dynamic.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it makes you think, like, does a franchise like Pokemon actually prioritize, like, putting out a ton of episodes?
Right.
Over, like, making sure the animation is always top notch.
Yeah. I mean, if their main audience is, like, little kids, they might not even notice. Right. Whereas, like you said, Sailor Moon Crystal probably has an older audience.
Exactly.
Who would care more about those?
Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to think about.
Yeah. It is.
So it kind of begs the question, is this decline in animation quality a sign that Pokemon is, like, losing its touch?
Ooh.
Or is it just them adapting to, like, different viewers and budgets?
Yeah, right.
What do you think?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but, Pokemon has been around for so long.
Right.
Any changes are going to get noticed.
Totally.
And people are going to have opinions.
Oh, sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the long run.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about dubbing.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the other side of the coin, right?
For sure. Super important for getting anime out to the world.
Right. The second video essay we're looking at, it focuses on Inazuma 11.
Inazuma 11, okay.
And it looks specifically at the Hebrew and the English dub.
Interesting.
And it's actually pretty funny because the essayist is, like, a huge Inazuma 11 fan.
Okay.
But they're totally confused by some of the stuff they did in the Hebrew dub.
Like what?
Well, they keep getting the character names wrong.
What? Seriously?
Yeah, like all the time.
Wow.
Like they call Nathan Swift Nathan Jones.
Oh, no.
And then Caleb Stonewall sometimes becomes Caleb Merrick.
Caleb Merrick. That's hilarious.
Right.
But also, like, how did they mess that up?
I know. It's like they're playing a game of who's who with the characters.
It's pretty bad.
And it's not just like a one-time thing.
Oh, no.
It happens throughout the whole Hebrew dub.
Wow.
And while it's kind of funny,
it's
also got to be super frustrating if you're actually trying to follow the story.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with a show like Inazuma 11.
Right. There's so much going on.
Yeah, you really need to know who's who.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, like, what happened?
Right, like, were there problems with the translation?
Yeah, maybe.
Or did they not communicate well with the original creators?
Could be.
Or maybe they were just rushed and didn't have time to check everything.
I mean, that happens a lot, right?
Yeah, sadly.
It's kind of like a reminder that even in the world of anime, mistakes happen.
Always.
But these mistakes,
yeah,
they really make you think about how important dubbing is.
Totally.
Because a good dub, it can make the whole anime better. But a bad one can totally ruin it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it makes it so much harder to enjoy the story.
Exactly. It's like you're watching with a friend who keeps calling all the players the wrong names.
I know, right? You'd be like, who are you even talking about?
Exactly. But I guess it just shows how dedicated anime fans are. They're willing to put up with some pretty wonky stuff to see their favorite stories come to life.
Yeah, it's true.
And it makes you think about how dubbing can be tricky, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes you got to get creative
Right.
to make sure the jokes and the references make sense in a different language.
Yeah, you can't always just do a straight translation.
Exactly.
Which actually brings us to the third video essay we're looking at.
Okay.
This one tackles the whole idea of Hebrew dubbing quality and whether it's actually gotten worse over time.
Okay.
And one of the main arguments is that maybe budget cuts are leading to like poorer casting choices.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
And translations that aren't as good.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not paying the voice actors as much,
Right.
they might not be getting the best people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they bring up the example of Kyoya from Beyblade, Metal Fury.
Beyblade, okay?
You remember him, right?
Yeah, kind of.
So they changed his voice actor. And the new one just doesn't compare.
Right.
Like the original voice actor had this deep, authoritative voice that just fit Kyoya perfectly.
Yeah.
But the new one just doesn't have that same presence. It's like a totally different character.
I mean, the voice is so important.
Right.
It's like half of what makes a character who they are.
Right. Totally. And the essayist is suggesting that this is happening more and more.
You mean like replacing good voice actors with less experienced ones?
Yeah, because of lower pay.
Yeah, that's not good.
Right. Like if you're not paying people enough,
you're
not going to get the best talent.
And then the quality suffers.
And then everyone loses out.
Exactly.
So it makes you wonder, like, what's going to happen to Hebrew dubbing in the future?
Yeah, is it going to keep getting worse?
Right.
Are people going to stop watching dubbed anime altogether?
I mean, it's a real concern.
It is.
And it kind of makes you think about how we value dubbing as a skill. Like if we want good dubs, we need to make sure that people doing them are being treated fairly.
Absolutely. It's a craft.
It is.
And it takes real talent.
Totally.
So if we want to see it thrive, we got to make sure the people behind it can make a living.
Right. It's like any other art form.
Exactly.
We need to support the artists.
Otherwise, it's going to die out.
So true.
And then we'll all be stuck with bad dubs.
Or no dubs at all.
Oh, man. Don't even get me started on subtitles.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation.
But seriously, it's about respecting the people who do this work.
Yeah.
They're bringing these stories to life for us.
And they're doing it in another language.
Which is not easy.
Not at all.
So we need to show them some love.
For sure. So bringing it back to these video essays, we've seen some pretty different approaches to dubbing and animation, right? Like Sailor Moon Crystal, where they really went all out on the animation.
Yeah, top-notch quality.
Even if it took longer to make.
Right.
And then you have Pokemon, where it seems like they're more focused on keeping the episodes coming out regularly.
Right, consistency.
And maybe sacrificing some of the animation quality.
Yeah, maybe they just don't have the budget for both.
Could be.
Or maybe they figure their audience doesn't care as much about the little details.
And then there's Inazuma 11, which
with the crazy name.
shows us that even when everyone's trying their best, things can still go wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a complicated process.
It is.
With lots of moving parts. But like we've been saying, dubbing can make or break a show.
Absolutely.
It really affects how we experience the story and the characters.
And it's not just about getting the words right.
Right.
It's about capturing the whole feeling of the original.
A heart and soul of it. Which brings up a really interesting question.
Okay, what's that?
How much creative freedom should dubbers have? Like, is it ever okay to change character name?
Or storylines?
Or censor stuff?
Or should they always try to stay as close to the original possible?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It is. I mean, there are good arguments on both sides.
Right. Like some people say you have to adapt things to make it work for a new audience. But others think any changes ruin the whole point of the original.
Yeah.
It's all about finding that balance.
Exactly.
Where it's both enjoyable for the new audience and still respectful of the original creators.
And I think that's where the viewers come in.
Okay. How so?
We have the power to choose what we watch.
Right.
And to speak up about what we think is a good dub.
So we can actually influence the industry.
Totally. If we support studios that do good dubs, they'll keep making.
And if we complain about the bad ones?
Hopefully they'll try to do better.
Makes sense.
It's all about being an informed and engaged viewer.
And being aware of the choices we make.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's wild when you think about how much impact dubbing really has on like the whole anime experience.
It really does, huh? It's not just like an afterthought.
No, not at all. And I think bringing it back to that first video essay we were talking about with like the animation.
Oh, yeah?
It's kind of the same deal, right? There's good animation and bad animation.
And good dubbing and bad dubbing.
Exactly. And like you said, Sailor Moon Crystal, they really put so much effort into that animation.
They wanted it to be perfect.
And I think the essayist for that third video.
The one about Hebrew dubbing.
Yeah, that one. They're basically saying we need that same level of care for dubbing.
Right. Treat it with the same respect as the animation.
Totally. Like investing good voice actors and translators and all that.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about the viewer, right?
Right. Like we want to enjoy these shows.
Exactly. If the dubbing's bad, it takes you right out of it.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I think they mentioned how Sailor Moon was actually handled differently in Canada.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, in Canada, they kept the original Japanese names.
Oh, wow.
And storylines. But in the U.S., they changed a bunch of stuff.
Like what?
They even censored some scenes.
Interesting.
So it really shows how different choices in dubbing can, totally change how people see the story.
It's almost like it becomes a different show.
Right. And it makes you wonder, are people starting to notice this?
You mean are viewers paying more attention to dubbing quality?
Yeah, are we getting more picky about it?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
I mean, as anime's gotten more popular, people are exposed to more dubs.
Right.
So they can compare and see what they like.
And I guess with the internet...
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to talk about this stuff online.
Exactly. People are sharing their opinions.
Right.
Debating what makes a good dub.
So maybe we're developing a better understanding of dubbing as a whole.
Yeah, appreciating it as its own art form.
Which is awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it means we're taking anime more seriously.
And hopefully that means studios will start to take dubbing more seriously too.
Right. Put more resources into it.
So they can make even better dubs.
Exactly. Because when it's done well, it's amazing.
It really brings the whole thing to life.
For sure. And it lets more people experience these stories.
So I think we've learned a lot from this deep dive, right?
We have. It's been really fascinating.
We've seen how animation styles are changing, how dubbing can make or break a show.
And how important the people behind the scenes are.
The voice actors, the translators, everyone.
Yeah, they're the ones who make it all happen.
And for everyone listening out there, we hope this has given you something to think about.
Yeah, next time you watch anime, pay attention to the dubbing.
You might be surprised by what you notice.
And don't forget to support the studios that are doing it right.
Totally. Well, that's about it for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been fun.
We'll see you next time.